been here on and off since I think 6 o'clock this morning, 7 o'clock this morning, and going chapter by chapter throughout the book for this book launch. And so I'm really excited. And anybody who has joined today will see that I have put the link at the bottom. You can get it on Barnes and Noble, you can get it on Amazon. And this really is a book to help young people to really understand what success is today in the age of social media. And so, what I am going to do now is we are going to continue on the journey. And this chapter is now chapter 7. Okay. And in chapter 7, I talk about faith. All right. No, not faith. I'm sorry. Chapter 7 is gratitude. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Sorry. Chapter 7, gratitude. Not faith. So we're going to talk about gratitude. And each chapter of the book starts with a quote, just like in all of the other lives that I've done today. And so this quote comes from Buddha. All right. And so the quote says, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." And that's really important because no matter what happens today, there's always something that you can find to be thankful for, to have gratitude for. And so in chapter 7 of the book, of this book, Follows and Likes, Is This All That I'm Worth? Chapter 7 is the lesson on gratitude. Okay. And the story after this chapter is about Naveen Jain. And so I am going to start with you by reading you the beginning of the book and then, or the beginning of the chapter, I'm sorry. And then we're going to talk about this because I want you to think about and realize how you can really change the way you think just by being grateful for what you have instead of what you don't have. So again, that quote from Buddha was, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us be thankful." We can all stop right here and be thankful for something. I know that today, my gratitude, and I am giving thanks to every single person who has shared their story with me in this book and allowed me to publish it. And every single person who has helped me to make this a reality. And so I am going to read to you the beginning of the chapter 7 on gratitude. So, gratitude is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. When you can show gratitude for what we have, we will awaken our minds to seeing how fortunate we really are. No matter what your circumstances are today, I am sure you can look around and find those that are less fortunate than you. I never start a day without recognizing 10 things that I am grateful for. And I never end a day without reflecting on what happened that day to say thank you. Never. There are a great many books on gratitude. I challenge you each day to look around you and find 10 things you are grateful for because we take so much for granted. You might be looking at your current circumstances and saying, how can I possibly make a list of 10 things I'm grateful for every day? 10 different things. In the beginning, I thought the same thing. But the more you think about it and the more you learn about the world around you, the more you will realize you have more to be thankful for than you thought. So, I'm going to give you an example of some of the things that we often give thanks for. So here's a list of 10 things just off the top of my head that we're often grateful for, okay? The most generic things that we say thank you for are food, clothing, your home, your family, school, your friends, your phone, your pet, your computer, and your health. So, in thinking of those 10 things, I challenge you because those are broad, right? What other things can we think of? 10 things every day in the morning that you could say that you are grateful for. For me, often, every time I get in the shower, and especially when it's cold outside, I say thank you for the hot water, right? I- Many people in this world don't have a hot water. Many people in this world don't have a shower. I say thank you for often, and thinking of the shower, I think of the toilet that actually flushes, because a lot of people in this world don't have, they have a hole in the ground. They don't have a flushable toilet, right? I often say thank you for my toothbrush and my toothpaste because um, many times we take those small things for granted, and the ability to brush our teeth every day. And water, I'm in currently right now in the United States, and therefore when I have the ability, because I lived in the Dominican Republic for the past 8 years, and I have the ability to go to the faucet and drink water out of it, I'm grateful for that, because where I used to live, we didn't have the ability to drink water every day out of the faucet. You had to buy bottled water. So these are just a few things that you can think about. If you take it from a macro to a micro perspective, and for young people to think about the little things, could just be a pencil, right? Many children don't even have those. So I challenge you, after this chapter, to every morning think of 10 things that you are grateful for when you get out of bed, even before you get out of bed. And then before you go to sleep at night, reflect on your day, because sometimes you can be like, oh my God, this was the worst day in the world, right? But you're going to bed with a horrible mindset. I am sure even on the worst days, we can find 10 things that we are grateful for. So, with that being said, now I want to share with you the story of the person who comes after the chapter of gratitude. So, up until now, we've had Greg Walker, we have had Anjanita Prevost, we have had, um, let's see, Greg Walker, Anjanita. Naveen Jain is an amazing man. He is someone who is just incredible. He came from India, he grew up in India, and he often grew up looking up at the moon. When he was growing up, he saw that the that's when they had put a person on the moon. And so now I want you to think about that. Young boy in India, came from very humble, poor beginnings, and now he is owns multiple companies. one company that actually is looking to mine resources off of the moon. So if you could imagine that that happened from a young boy who grew up poor in India, it just makes you think that you really couldn't do anything that you set your mind to. So I'm going to share a little bit of his story, and the title for his section and his story is called Naveen Jain, A Life to Be Grateful For. And I quote this from him. He says, "Dream so big that people think you are crazy, and never be afraid to fail, because you only fail when you give up. Everything else is just a learning experience." So, Naveen Jain is an inspiration to anyone who has the opportunity to listen to him. And knowing his story and the journey to get to be where he is today will truly make you believe you can too. He points out to young people today that it is easier to create success now than when he started out, because of technology and the ability to immediately be connected with anyone, anywhere. When Naveen began his journey, the only way to connect with someone was for him to either find their phone number or go to them physically, and not an easy task and quite expensive to do when you think about it. So, one of the things that he often tells young people today, and that I include here in the book, is that we adults, young people, we all have the ability to actually, it's easier for us to connect. We can send a message. I'm over here, and even if there are people aren't watching it now, people are going to be able to watch this after I already put this up. It's amazing. And the number of people that have reached out to me merely because I have been doing this all day long, right? It's absolutely incredible who we can reach, who we can talk to. And if it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't have had all of these people that you see on your screen right now. I wouldn't have had the ability to interview all of them without actually going to each one of them physically, right? And that's expensive. So, what he's saying is that when he grew up to create what he has created in his life, it was much more difficult because he physically had to go, and there weren't, cell phones did not exist then. You had to use the phone. And I even remember, because I grew up in the 80s, is that's a long distance call. I remember getting the 10 cents a minute phone plan for Canada when I was growing up, because we had family in Canada. But prior to the 10 cents a minute phone plan, um, it was not easy to call the United States, or I'm sorry, to Canada, and it was expensive. So we had to, how many minutes have you been on? How many minutes have you been on? Right? So so when you think about it, as young people out there today, you are all very, very fortunate to have the technology and the ability to connect with people. And this is where social media can come in to be such a positive, um, and a blessing. You know, you see all of the negative around social media, in like in the beginning of the book, comparing and contrasting and wanting the follows and wanting the likes. But there's so much good that can be done in social media, helping other people, reaching other people, getting those contacts and mentoring that you wouldn't normally have had the ability to do prior to now. So that is also something to be really grateful for. So I am grateful to be giving you this lesson in this part of the book, in chapter 7, on gratitude. And Naveen Jain is just an amazing, amazing person. His story is incredible. His thoughts and his way of thinking is even more incredible. So I highly recommend, while you're going to buy this book, on Barnes and Noble and Amazon, you also go and get his book called Moonshots, because it is just, when you think about how he thinks, when you think about what he does, it's just something that you would never put thought behind, because it's just so out there. And like he said, so many of us weren't allowed or never believed that we could dream so big, right? But if you think about anybody before now, if you think about all of the people who created, Henry Ford, Elon Musk's, Jeff Bezos, all of the incredible people, Oprah Winfrey, that created this great life for themselves, they never stopped believing that they could achieve these great. People thought they were crazy. And one of the things that he said in an interview with me was, that your idea, the day before your idea comes to fruition, it's crazy. The day after, it was just another idea. He says it better than I do. I know it's not exactly his words, but I just want you all to know that when he says dream so big that people think you are crazy, and never be afraid to fail, because you only fail when you give up. Everything else is just a learning experience. Be bold, dream big, because you can. The only one, and again, going back to what Henry Ford said, the, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're right. If you say you can do something, you can. And if you say you can't, you can't. But anything's possible. Anything is possible. And the more you listen to things that Naveen Jain has to say, um, the more you will truly believe that. So if you don't know or never have experienced this amazing man, I highly recommend that you go to YouTube and find some videos about him. Get his book, Moonshots. He will blow your mind. You can also listen to the interview that I did with him, a couple of different ones that I had done with him on my podcast. The Secret to Success Isn't So Secret. So get the book. Follows and likes. Is this all that I'm worth? And I have one more live coming up today, and for chapter 8, and it will be on what's next? Chapter 8, responsibility, something that young people really need, even adults need it too. And the real life story after chapter 8 is Ana Olivero, a Dominican woman, or a woman from the Dominican Republic, and her story will blow your mind as well. So I will be back in about an hour. And so don't go anywhere. Well, go anywhere, do what you got to do. But when you see me live again, make sure you tune in, and I will be back with chapter 8 and the end of today for our book launch of Follows and Likes. This is all that I'm worth. And so with that, I say bye for now.